Jai Guruji. So, all of us have been going through the moral science lessons, and many of us were very, very religious, following some scriptures, some texts. You go and listen to pravachans, you go to some mandir, and you're given a lot of gyan, which you also read in books. God is just, God is kind, God is everywhere. I've read about it, I'm sure, right from second class, if I'm not wrong. We used to sing those verses, how God even is merciful, kind, just, He's with you everywhere. God is omnipotent, God is omnipresent. It was just a lip service, just learning them up. And how deep did we understand it? I very much doubt. Gone is that. And now with Guruji, every single word that you learnt in the books has practically come alive. Guruji shown it. Actually, it's not a lip service, it's actual. It's what we have been reminded by Guruji. In such beautiful ways, I get tears in my eyes to tell you how. Just talking of one odd thing on this. My husband, he was posted in the J&K somewhere, a sector which was highly infested with terrorists, and he was deployed there in this valley where the units had the job of flushing out, as they use the word, of flushing out the terrorists. And I do remember that it was so bad, that area, that as army people, they had to even go in disguise at times. And they had to grow beards to mingle with the villagers, and then keep a watch on the villages where the terrorists were, and wait, so that you avoid civilian killing, and you wait for your time when you come to know that terrorists are there in these hutments, and you got to wait for that news which has come to you, that information, and wait to catch that person. So this was his job in that area, and it was pretty tough and pretty tense. Whenever my husband would talk to me, he would tell me, today there were so many terrorists killed by our brigade. The next day he would say, so-and-so was caught, and this happened, that happened. It used to be quite terrifying and quite putting you into a very different chain of thought. Now, we have married an army officer, and of course they have the motto, but to do or die. True. And knowing this motto, and we people, the lady, the wife who's married, knowing that yes, he has a very, very risky life because of being in the army, and but we have voluntarily opted to be with that man who is the army officer. And the husband, as we all know, these army officers just make so light of all their operations and all their jobs and all their works, and they don't let anything rub off on the family, for sure. And we people have seen many an opportunity where the husband is going to the border, and in fact there is a puja which is performed in the regiments to wish them victory when they go for these operations and these wars and battles. There's a puja which is done by the pandits before they go. I think everybody must have seen that in even the series where the king goes and the wife is putting the tilak on him. So it's like that in the army. And we wish them all the best from our hearts more than anything else. And the correct, the very, very strong wife will never show on the face any scare, any worries. It's just not done. The husband in turn has got this wife, his children, as his only property in this world. The rest is all, nothing is his. 1 minute he's in a good house, the second day he's on the Siachen Glacier. So there is nothing the man, the army officer, has ever learned to love and to possess. But the only thing that he loves and really gets driven to sort of work for is their family, for sure. And that same family never lets the husband down, especially at the time when they are gone to a very, very difficult operation. And so the same with us, the same with me. I know he was in a very tense area, but I may have felt 1,000 times inside me some turmoil, but never and never will I show it on my face. And least of all will I let it rub down on him or on my children or on any associated members in our family. That cannot be, that doesn't happen. Now, when he was in such a tense situation, somehow, being a mother and a wife, sometimes I used to think, I wonder, like, what's going to happen there? I wonder, all's going to be well. He's there for so much time now. I hope all's well. I hope this will, just not lead into anything more worse, because there are blasts that happen, there are actions, all type of actions that take place. So things would come into the mind, I would drive them away, but yes, sometimes they would come to the mind. And you would hear of it in the papers, you would hear of it from people, you would see the pictures, that things were pretty bad. And I can't show my frightening voice to my husband, even if he does manage to call, which he cannot at times of such a difficult situation. But you do hear of it from others. Oh, where is he? Oh, he's in this sector. Oh, that's a very, very risky sector, Anyways, I would hear it and I would wish all the best would happen and keep control of myself, not get panicky. Sometimes it just came to my head that Guruji should, be knowing everything. I don't know whether I should share, because I cannot go and share with my parents. I cannot go and share with sisters, brothers, others. I cannot rub out my thoughts and my fears on anybody else. I was just thinking, shall I tell Guruji? And then I said, no, but he knows it, of course. What will I tell him? Then I said, what a stupid thing to even talk to Guruji, I'm sure. Like, these things are never talked to Guruji. And Guruji, of course, he does what he does for, us. And I'm sure that is about just to keep on having faith in your future and just be quiet about anything and don't you talk about it. So it was. Now we went to Empire State one day, and these things were coming to my mind a few times. to talk or not to talk, and Guruji hasn't given me a chance to ever talk about it. He hasn't said anything about it, how this period would be. Anyways, so I put it out of my mind and went with a stronger version of myself and thought that is most foolish. Let's not get some stupid thoughts. What will happen, and what is just, and all in the hands of the God. So let things just be left at that stage. I go to Empire State. Guruji was upstairs, and we were told to wait down. There was more Sangat also sitting down, and Guruji was still upstairs, and everybody was told to wait. It was the early days when Guruji used to sit up, and they were told just wait for some time till you are, told to come up. And so we were there. And while we were sitting down and got talking to somebody very, very close to Guruji. So I could name her, but I'm not too sure whether, she would really like it. Maybe anybody on a personal touch with me, I would tell the name also. So we were also knowing each other well. They were very great disciples. And she just told me that Colonel Malhotra is in J&K. I said, yes. I said, who told you? I said, she said, yesterday, Guruji was just telling somebody. I said, what? He says, oh, है Colonel Malhotra. Oh, मेरा बहुत ही बड़ा भक्त है और J&K posted है. So he was telling others. I said, अच्छा. Then what did he say? He says, oh, इन्ना मेरा बड़ा भक्त है, उन्हें कुछ नहीं होएगा. And then he used the words, bullet to the right, bullet to the right and bullet to the left. उन्होंने नहीं मैं कुछ होने देना. This is what the Sangat told me with her own mouth. She says, oh my God, I heard this from Guruji first hand. Bullet to the right and bullet to the left. उन्होंने मैं कुछ नहीं होने देना. Oh, I said, that's wonderful. Like you could really sigh with relief, like, what beautiful words. And Guruji saying it, and Bhagat, and also I just got my prasad on that day, and all my little nonsense fears were put at rest. Now what happened the rest of the day in Empire State, I'll leave that out, but I'll just go back to the fact that next day in the papers, on the leading front page, what was written, you got to believe it. Major Puneet Datta Shaheed हो गए. Major Puneet Datta fell to the bullets. Going into detail, let me tell you, whenever uncle will speak, please hear this story from him first hand. But I'm also telling you first hand in the sense of hearing it from my husband himself. And he told me himself, and he said, that day was such a fateful day. And we were having this operation, and we were having heavy firing, and we were asked to, shoot at one of the huts where the terrorists were supposed to have been hiding, and we had gheraoed those huts, and I was the leader of that operation, and my juniors were all spread out to cover the area, and we were waiting for the correct time to fire. And I was at one corner, and there was this Puneet Datta slightly few feet away from me, just a feet. I was just at that corner. He was a little more in front of me, although I was not even required to be there, but I was there, like as a colonel. He could have been much in the background. So I was there. Suddenly, the window opened, and the terrorists inside, they sensed it, that they are being surrounded, and they opened up, and they, without we getting a chance, and they started shooting. And the shot hit Puneet Datta. Since he was a little in the corner, and his vision could not see that bullets being fired, then there was his junior who was standing a little more where he could see this operation. All of them close by, not knowing from which side it's going to happen. But he suddenly exclaimed loudly, and he turned towards my husband and he said, "Saab, Major Saab ko lag gayi." My husband said, "Kaun?" He said, "Major Datta Saab." He said, "Unko leke aao, uthao unko, leke aao." And they ran forward, and his intention was to bring out Major Puneet Datta and let me carry him, and let's try to save his life. And they tried to evacuate him from there and ran to try and save his life, but it was not to be. So Major Puneet Datta collapsed. And my husband was just a few feet away. And this is what Guruji said just one day before. And the next day I saw it splashed on the paper. Bullet to the right and bullet to the left. Enu kuch nahi hoega. Jai Guruji.